Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Park Church Podcast. My name is James Lapine. I'm your host. And on this show, it's my job to talk with well-known authors, thinkers, and speakers about the intersection of faith and day-to-day life. This month, we're running a Q&A that I did with Andy Crouch and N.D. Wilson back in the fall of 2015 when we hosted them here at Park Church for a symposium. If you're not familiar with these guys, Andy Crouch is the author of a number of books. His most recent one that I'm holding here is called The TechWise Family, Everyday Steps for Putting Technology in its Proper Place. He's also written Culture Making, Playing God, Strong and Weak. He's a really important, I think, writer and thinker in our day. So check him out. The other guy, N.D. Wilson, has written Notes from the Tilt-A-Whirl, Death by Living, and then a number of children's books, which I haven't had the pleasure of checking out yet. My daughter's only 14 months old, but I'm sure we will get to those soon. Those come highly recommended. Really thankful for both of these guys. I'm running this interview to put them in front of you. They both have new books out, and so I think they're worth checking out. Also, ND has recently announced that he's struggling with a brain tumor right now, so I'd love for us to do anything that we can to support him and his family by buying his work and contributing financially so that they're able to maybe that will help them as they walk through these medical struggles. Also, just you can be keeping him and his family in your prayers. So, Andy Crouch, N.D. Wilson, we talked through a number of things in this quick conversation, but mainly around what does it look like to deal with these feelings that can come about, these feelings of meaninglessness as we get into our routines and, we wake up and we go to work and we come home and we eat dinner and we watch TV and go to bed. We can start to wonder what the point of life is. And so we talk about what it looks like to live into your vocation that God has called us to as image bearers, to go into the world and to create beautiful things and to contribute to culture and to image God to the world around us. So I think it's like a 12-minute conversation, pretty quick, but I think it'll be helpful, and you guys can take it and then go and do your own work and buy these guys' books and learn more about their ideas and thoughts. They've been very helpful for me over the years. So that's it. Let's hop into the quick conversation with Andy and ND. For a lot of us, I would say life can often feel mundane. We wake up, we go to work, we come home, we eat dinner, we watch TV, we go to bed. We get stuck in these routines that can start to feel pointless. With what you guys have talked about tonight, how do we engage well in those moments? How do we know, how do we understand that those moments are meaningful and that we are bearing God's image when life feels that way?
Okay. I'll try.
All right.
The biggest thing is just because we're finite, we do get bored. And we can be doing the most amazing. If you hovered 6 inches above the ground to work every day, you'd be bored of that in a week. I mean, it's just, if you had feathered wings and you could fly, you'd get bored of that. It's amazing what we can do, and it's amazing that we're shoving things in our faces in order to power our thoughts and our memories and our motions through this world on this planet going around a star. So as far as it goes, how do you keep from getting sucked into the mundane or just being bored? Just remember. Like, keep your eyes open. Remember what you're doing. Pay attention to those little by rote tasks that you're doing as you brush your teeth every night, scrubbing the bones that are visible in the open hole in your face.
See, I feel like I want you to follow me around, reminding me of everything that I do.
Just remember. Like, meditate and remember.
That's good. Andy, any thoughts?
Well, I think as a musician, I have a bit of a challenge of that when I play Bach's Prelude No. 1. I mean, it's very simple. I acquired the technique to play it when I was probably 12 or 13, and I've played it hundreds of times. I've done it for audiences many times and explained it. And there's always the question, how do I keep this very simple thing as real as can be? And I don't know that there's any trick at all. I think it's that you always try to open yourself up to wonder and to pain, actually. And you don't always have to explicitly say that, so I don't think I said anything explicit about pain. But any joke about disorder and disharmony is accessing pain. And so I have to be willing to just enjoy whatever's coming out of that piece and also sense the ways in which that piece is touching my longing, my sense of incompleteness, and then also my failure to perform it. So I'm always missing something when I play it. And actually, the lack or the limitations that I have actually are a pathway to seeing it for what it is and seeing it for how beautiful it is.
That's good. I feel like you guys are answering all the questions that I've already written down. Let me try here. Because what I was going to ask next, we have a variety of vocations represented in this room. We have baristas and lawyers and doctors and you name it. We've got them here. What I was going to ask is, how is their work, why is all work meaningful? And when you talk about playing the piano, right, there's somebody who says, yes, I have made a white mocha frappuccino 50 times today, and I don't want to make another one. What do you tell them in that moment?
Quit?
Yeah. Well, sort of. So I would not say all work is meaningful because we live in the industrial or post-industrial age, which tried to turn human beings into machines. It tried to move up and to the left in that little diagram I drew. And to the extent that your work, that all that it asks of you is that you are a very sort of high-functioning part of a machine, whether it's a cappuccino machine or a factory assembly line, and it does not provide you the opportunity to add both order and abundance to the world, it is subhuman work, and it's not that meaningful. Now, obviously, many human beings, that's the only choice they have, given our world, but I don't think we should pretend that all work is the way it was meant to be. And post-industrial work is broken in that way. That being said, in almost every setting that we work, there is one domain where there is an opportunity to add order and abundance, and that's in our relationships with the people around us. So even if you did make that mocha frappuccino, well, right now it would be pumpkin spice lattes, right, over and over, which is a kind of abomination, I think. So woe to the person who makes 50 pumpkin spice lattes. It is supposed to be the same every time, I get that. But the person you're handing it to, even in that one moment, let alone the people working with you behind the bar there, are not machines. And so finding ways to reverence them as not machines and make some abundance in the midst of that, and actually I think Starbucks would encourage that, in fact, would see the value of that.
Just to pile on there, I agree completely about the pumpkin spice lattes. And then...
That's not fair. Never mind.
Also, I do. I'm right with you on that one.
It's just a little much. Go ahead.
And the peppermint November. Just wait. But basically, I as far as it goes, when you have the mundane, when you really are just like pulling one lever,
right,
and just pulling the one lever over and over and over again, you have to contextualize it. So, like Andy's saying, as far as the relationships go and the other people there, but also why are you there? And for whom are you there? And how do you make the fact that if you're truly one of the ones doing a subhuman job, and I think we could plumb the depths far below barista, it's relative. There's many people who'd love to have that job.
Sure.
But if you found yourself in a truly subhuman job, the way you beautify that and the way you beautify being there, your presence there, is by seeing it for what it is. It's like that you're stooping, you're here, but for whom and to what end? And so nobody can stoop lower than Christ did. And making a pumpkin spice latte is hardly the cross. But it is a sacrifice if you're doing it that many times a day. Just make sure that it's a sacrifice for someone, for others, for people, and bring meaning to it that way. And bring joy to it. Like, you're there for a reason. You're bringing this money. It's for your grandma. It's for your mom. It's for, even if it's just for your rent. If it's for your rent, then what are you for? And what are you doing? And what are you using your life? To what end are you using your life? And so on. So I think even as bad as it gets, in context and narrative, the worse it is, sometimes the more glorious it is. So if you have a super sexy, awesome job, and you're doing it for others, thanks a lot. But if you're actually like shouldering a major burden and you're doing this thing, just plant it, use it, plant a seed in that compost, and it is very rich soil.
Put some poo in it, if you will.
Yes, it is, but the point is it is already.
Great. We have about 35 small groups that meet across the city every week and talk about what happened on Sunday, share life with each other, share a meal, pray with each other. We put on these symposiums in part to help shape the conversations that are happening in those groups. If just the group leaders were here in the room, what would you be telling them? What would you want them to be talking about based on your talks tonight?
Give that to
Oh, really?
Just the group leaders?
You can talk to
Everybody else?
anybody.
I honestly, I would say don't be afraid of conflict. There's, like, as Annie just mentioned, as far as the pain, even in beauty, it's not going to be strawberry shortcake, ever, nor should it be. Like, good stories always have conflict, tension, pain, always. Good art always has that kind of yearning, because we live in a fallen world and we're yearning for, ultimately, the new heavens and the new earth. And Christians can flinch away from all those moments. It can be really uncomfortable. If you're in a leadership position of any kind, you're going to come in, you're going to be the one who gets to see the story more fully than the participants of conflict, and do what you can to push it through to true resolution. But don't be afraid of it, and don't think something's going wrong when there's tension, pain, and conflict. There's nothing going wrong. That's the way God made the world. There's something going wrong when you fail to bring it, into a resolution.
That's great. Anything to add on to that?
Well, maybe just a different line of thought would be also, this is what I loved about what you did, Nate, is just constantly pushing to see everything in our lives as within the scope of what we're here to do as church, rather than there are a few topics that we focus on, and then we ignore these huge parts of our lives that are really central to who we are, whether it's our leisure, which is like our me time that somehow we aren't accountable for to others, or our work. And unfortunately, churches have been good at helping people with a few domains, but in every domain of your life, you are potentially bringing healthy order and discovering extraordinary abundance, or you're not, and you're stuck in chaos or a machine, or maybe nothing, Neil. And the task of discipleship is to move out of that, and we need each other's help to, I'm just feeling in my work like it's just rote, or there's a lot of chaos right now. What new structure do I need in my life, or in my workplace, or for that matter, in how I spend my Thursday nights, Yeah.
That's great. And speaking the truth in love being the primary vehicle through which that conflict is addressed. Would you agree with that statement? Any thoughts to add on to that?
Well, it's hard to say no to that one.
Well, it's from the Bible.
Speaking the truth in love. Yes.
Yeah. Can I get just a head nod?
Sure.
No,
I'll endorse that also.
Actually, I would say, though, I think, I can't remember where Chesterton said it, but he did say it somewhere. If people are accusing you of being too fat and too thin and too tall and too short, then you're standing where you should be. And if you are actually in a pain point as a leader, not as somebody who has a trial going on or something like that, or some hardship or conflict, but if you're there and you're wading into a conflict to try to bring resolution, there's almost always a phase where everyone hates you. It's like if you're picking sides, then it's, something went wrong. But if you're talking to each person about what they have to work on, so if you're talking to people about what you need to work on and what you need to work on, pretty soon one's yelling you're too fat, one's yelling you're too thin, and that's a good moment. Hang on to that moment.
Thanks so much for listening to our conversation with Andy and ND. I hope you found it helpful. And as always, you can go to parkchurchdenver.org/podcast and click on their names there, and that'll take you to the show page where you can find links to their books and any other resources that were mentioned here on the show. I have a request of you this month. Normally I say hop into iTunes to subscribe and rate and review and all that good stuff. This week, I'd just like to ask you to email me or tweet me a suggestion of someone who you think that I should interview, someone who you think it would be beneficial for this audience to learn from. So yeah, you can tweet me at James Lepine, Lepine, or you can just send me an email at james@parkchurchdenver.org. But I'd love your suggestions, and we're looking forward to doing some fresh new interviews. We're now 12 episodes in, so we've made it through a whole year, and looking forward to year 2, and just would love to hear your suggestions on who I should be interviewing over the next year. So yeah, drop me a line. Thanks as always for listening, and we'll talk to you next month.